I forgot I have a baby shower and I need to do some blankets. So I gotta get out of bed and make some blankets, and we're gonna do something quick and easy, and I have no idea what fabric I have in my stash, but we're gonna figure it out. So, okay, let's get out of bed. So I found this light blue, dark blue kind of zebra print Minky faux fur thing from Shannon Fabrics, and there's definitely enough I can get 2 baby blankets out of, because baby on the way also has big brother Sam, so he gets something too, right? So I think I will try one of the self-binding blankets from Shannon Fabrics. It seems easy enough. I think I can do it. And I went through my stash. I do have some solids like a cream, navy, this kind of light blue, and then like a gray, but I also had these fat quarters I can use. But I also went through all of my scraps. I save all of my scraps from all of my quilts, and I cut them into 2.5-inch widths, and I just save them for sometime in the future. Yes, we will definitely do a scrappy tutorial someday soon, but I was able to pull out at least these ones I can kind of incorporate that might fit this theme. And I don't have a lot of time to do 2 blankets, so we're gonna do something super quick, scrappy. I'm thinking like maybe a rectangle brick pattern. That's super easy to do. So I'm gonna start by cutting all of my scraps and all of these solids or fat quarters into their 2.5-inch width, and then I'll cut at 6 inches. Quilt math. So we're gonna have 8 across. I need 28 rows down, so that's gonna give me 224 rectangles I need to cut, and for 2 of them, that's like 448. That's a lot of rectangles. So we put on a good movie and we start chain stitching. So we took 2 rectangles, I chain stitched all of them together, came up with this. Now I'm going to take 2 of the pairs and we'll chain stitch those, and then I'll take the 4 and another 4 and then chain stitch those. That way we have rows of 8. Now when you start laying out your rows, the easiest way I find to do the brick pattern is just every other row, pull it out to half. You can think ahead and cut these in half, and then that way you don't have so much wastage. For me, it's easier just to sew all of the rows the same and then pull one out and start sewing your rows like that. So here's what it looks like all laid out, and obviously now I need to go back and trim off those extra edges. And then we need to start working on the Minky for the back. So to do the self-binding part of the blanket, I've cut off all of those edges. And then I've cut my Minky or faux fur, whatever you're working with, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches bigger. So that kind of gives me like a rough layout of what I'm working with. But I don't necessarily want to do all of the quilting on the Minky. To me, it's just a little bit more difficult. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to quilt everything to my batting. So I'm gonna put my quilt top on top of my batting and do almost all of the quilting on there. So just like with any other basting, I'm just gonna lay my quilt top down and baste it to my batting. I'm just not gonna have the backing on there like normally. And then I'm just gonna do my quilting on here. And I'm gonna throw in a couple basting pins along the way. And then we're gonna do some quilting just on the batting and the quilt top. And then once I finished all of the quilting that I want to do, I'm gonna cut off all of this so that it's even with my quilt top. And then once again, we lay our quilt top that we quilted to our batting on top of the back of our backing fabric. So backing fabric face side down, and then we're gonna baste it with some basting glue, or you can use pins. I think the glue is really helpful just given how slippery the Minky and faux fur is. We're gonna baste that so that we have about 1 inch, 1.5 inches all the way around. Now as far as quilting, I've already quilted it so that it has this great top stitching on it, and we don't need to add a whole lot more to that, but I do want to make sure that it sticks to the backing fabric. So what I'm going to do is pick maybe 4 or 5 points along my quilt to do some quilting to the backing, and then that way I know it's going to be secure, but I'm not having to do all of the intricate quilting like I have on the top through all of the Minky, if that makes sense. So here is the quilt top basted to the backing. I'm just going to pick maybe here, 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 and then somewhere down there to just do a quilting line across it. And then that way I know for sure it's gonna stick to my Minky. Now to do the self-binding corners, we're gonna put our 45-degree line along our quilt top. We're gonna mark a line here from corner to corner, right where our ruler meets our quilt top. Then we're going to clip and we're gonna sew right along that line. It's easier for me to see than you, but we're gonna sew right along that line and then trim it at a 1/4 inch. So now that it's sewn and clipped, we can turn it inside out. So we're just gonna pop that corner out and then we can tuck our quilt's top corner right up into it. And because I'm using a pretty thick Minky or faux fur, I'm going to just zigzag this on and make sure it stays. If I tried to fold it under once and then zigzag, it might be a little too thick for some people's machines, so just check with yours. Okay, this is not cute. Go get all those furs out. That's much better. There we go, all done.